So over the past couple days, everybody on Twitter has been talking about Pokimane's editor, and oh boy did she get unlucky with who she hired. You can hear her explain it in this clip that got posted by Fearbuck on Twitter with the caption, "Pokimane says her editor told her he couldn't make deadlines because he was busy touching himself to her videos while editing them." What the fuck?
Hey, do you have time to talk? I'm ready to finally tell you why I've been struggling so much with deadlines. And I said, oh, great. Hopefully this is something that we can fix. Tell me why he proceeds to tell me that the reason why he would sometimes turn around videos a week or two late is because he couldn't stop touching himself? I was trying to pick which word to use. To me, his, in a way, employer of many, many months. When I tell you I've never halted a conversation so fast, because I'm like, you are the person that I send hours of footage to. I don't want to know what you're...
Loner Ski responds with a picture of a man ready to Minecraft himself, and the caption, "Pokimane editor after hearing this." A silent voice says, "He could have just kept that to himself." Director Nasty says, "Hey, where's that edit?" Her editor, showing a picture of Bugs Bunny angry because milk got spilt on him. NS Brooklyn TV says, "What was going through his head? Did he think she was going to be like, 'Oh my god, I am so happy you told me this'?" Randall Stevens responds to Brooklyn by saying, "Dude watched way too much porn. Thought this was going to land him the girl." NS Brooklyn responds, "He is someone who never touched grass, let alone a girl. Sits at home 24/7 and edits." PXD responds to Brooklyn by saying, "He jerked off to the idea of telling her this, then jerked off to the memory of telling her this." Brooklyn responds, "Still jerking now." Going back to the replies to the clip of Pokimane explaining that her editor jerked off to her, Violent Fights responds by saying she's attention seeking. Snorri Sven responds by saying, "Her editor was jacking it to her and she's attention seeking?" Violent responds, "I doubt this really happened." And then Tommy says, "This would be a very random thing to lie about." Trend then responds to Tommy by saying, "It's the most obvious clip farm. Why the fuck would a professional paid editor say this to their employer?" Snorri Sven responds, "Pros can be weirdos." Elias says, "Not even Batman could have got that out of me." Wayne God says, "Sorry boss, can't work right now. I'm cranking my hog." Dr. Diabolical says, "Game is game." Chaos Kid quote tweets the Pokimane clip and says, "Why would someone willingly admit this to anyone, let alone the person you are working for? Bro really tried to get a fired and blacklisted world record speedrun." Games Cage responds to Chaos Kid by saying, "I genuinely don't know what he thought he was cooking. Did he think she'd find it attractive or what?" Chaos Kid responds, "Never let bro in the kitchen again." Selena responds to Chaos Kid by saying, "What did I just witness?" Chaos Kid responds, "A guy with no shame admit to being a freak." Andy quote tweets the Pokimane clip and says, "Hey editor, just wanted to check in and ask what's going on with the video being delayed." Zestilda reacts to the clip by saying, "Been there too, Pokimane," showing a tweet she made last year that says, "Me DMing one of my editor in trial. Yo dude, you done a couple clips?" And then it shows his response from Discord saying, "Yo, let me be honest, I've done nothing. Only thing I've done the past days was jerk off to this picture on your Instagram because of your big ass titties." Sip Sip Stefan says, "How are people just admitting this? Are men okay?" Dubis Goobus quote tweets the clip and says, "If you are masturbating to footage of a fully clothed woman just sitting in a chair doing nothing sexual, you need to get help and a shower." Chris Raygun says, "I can't stop thinking about how fucking insane this story is." The Quartering responds by saying, "Because it's an obvious lie?" Definitely Stephanie responds to Quartering by saying, "You know a lot about obvious lies, don't you?" SGB Derek responds to the Pokimane clip by saying, "Dude could just click any video on the homepage of Pornhub and see tits and ass flopping all over the place. But he's like, nah. Hours of Pokimane talking about random BS is what gets me going." Dojangles quote tweets the clip and says, "And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, Muda has to edit all his own videos. Stefei Lamau reacts to the clip by saying, "I can confidently say I do not do this." A Cheeto quote tweets this clip and says, "Alright, I'll address this, once and for all. Yes, she's talking about me." In late 2018, Pokey had been reaching out to various editors trying to expand her YouTube presence. I was a longtime fan of hers, so you can imagine the joy I felt when she offered the job to me. Things were going smoothly for the first few months, but as time passed I found myself struggling to meet deadlines as I was truly captured by her beauty and would get distracted by her allure whilst editing. Needless to say, things didn't work out. I wish this never became public. And I apologize to Pokey. Solen responds, "Why on earth would you ever confess to this shit?" Marcelino says, "Let me explain. It's true." Dojangles says, "Gooning on the job is a disability, and anyone who's shaming you is racist. We have a long way to go." Pegasus says, "Always knew you were a gooner." Irby says, "Bro, you can't just goon on the job." Sidion says, "You couldn't beat this information out of me." Nordlys responds, "The sweat and heart eye emojis at the end of this tweet is killing me." A Cheeto responds, "It seems no one can tell I'm joking." I'm just Xander responds, "No one can tell you're joking because it's not written like a joke. That's your fault." Frank Edward quote tweets a Cheeto with a picture of a GigaChad saying, "Sorry for missing the deadline. I couldn't stop masturbating to your videos." A Cheeto then shows that Pokimane blocked him over his joke and says, "Genuinely wish it didn't come to this." Drama Alert also tweeted out the clip that Fearbuck showed, and we get some more responses to the entire situation through people like Uncensored Ghost reacting to that tweet by saying, "Why is everyone that she's around or work with a weirdo?" Stephen Casey says, "Everyone in the chat like, huh?" As if they ain't some 40-year-old doing it too. Tofu says, "Imagine having to share this information to the public just so you can feel better about yourself." Riot Bruh quote tweets the clip and says, "Whatever happened to honesty is the best policy. This guy was so brave for coming out with his addiction to touching himself. And what happens? He loses his job and is publicly humiliated by his boss in front of millions. It's a fucked up world we live in, folks." Wavy Websurf quote tweets the clip and says, "Professional gooning is now a thing apparently." Meme Bastard responds, "Some people only goon on an amateur level." Zoe quote tweets the clip and says, "I think Pokimane has received the worst treatment of literally anyone who has ever touched the internet." The Formula Idiot says, "Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I jack off to her on company time." Dexturo also tweets out the clip, and Vicus responds with this clip in the caption, "Pokimane editor after hearing this.
Be feeling you don't want me, got me think about my other options. Force myself to eat and I can't sleep, I just wanna call you. You feel good just like drugs, you know I do it often. I'm addicted to your lies and you ain't never like, who knows what."
Yotix says, "I could have guessed anything by the looks of this caption, and it wouldn't have been what she said." Tolly Censor shares this video and says, "Pokimane editor footage while editing, lol."
You know what I mean? Like, dude, I wanna jerk off! Fuck! I wanna jerk off! Look at this!
Mudahar posts this picture of a depressed guy and says, "Pokimane's editor." Sky says, "It's crazy to think how bad it got. How many post-nuts had he had to go through to come to the conclusion he needed to confess that?" Elope Man shows a picture of Tipster and says, "Pokimane's editor." Emilia says, "He must have had the Wonder Woman lasso of truth wrapped around his little John or something. How do you admit this?" Bell responds, "Sometimes I feel like when you're a woman, some men just overshare because they think you are more accepting, so they just say the most unhinged things." Emilia responds, "This is very real." Pokimane herself then quote tweets the clip that Fearbuck shares and says, "Thank you for the dozens of editor applications sent to my email today, laughing my fucking ass off. But this happened years ago." Also tweet/wording kinda misleading. He said this to me, but didn't directly say it was about me. Either way, convo ended and working a relationship ended. Covant responds, "That's honestly kind of the biggest relief. I'm just Xander says, it's still nasty, but it's like nasty in a different degree, I guess. Point being, bro needs therapy and some respect women juice." And that's about it for the conversation around this little story that Pokimane shared on her stream. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel with notifications on to keep up to date with the YouTuber gossip on Twitter. But if you would like to also hear what I have to say, there are a bunch of videos on my new channel, Mayo Monkey, where I give my in-depth opinions on various things, so you can go check out that as well. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.